It always fascinates me when a single word pops into my head as the focal point of whatever it is I'm supposed to be talking about today. This sort of comes out of nowhere, but it doesn't really, because it's at the core of so many of our relationships, so many of the things we experience in life. Um, don't do that. It is something you probably all are familiar with, but it is worth talking about. The word is transactional. And one of the things I have discovered in my later years, God knows why it takes me so long to discover things, is how many, if not almost all, of our lives and relationships are transaction. We do to get. We expect a return on whatever it is we put out. And this happens on every element of life, how we treat our friends and our family. We want something back. It may just be continuity of connection, friendship, love, um, somebody making you a meal, somebody being kind to you, whatever it may be, but it is putting out to get back. And it's problematic. And it's problematic because it reinforces our separateness from people. It makes it a dialogue and a dance, which it is on so many levels. So I'm not trying to say that transactional is in itself bad, but I want to bring it into the realm of the spiritual. Spiritual transaction is give me something and I will give you back. Give me peace and I will show up at your classes. Uh, give me inner joy and I will feel worthy of it and I will live accordingly. I will try to do something that will be respectful of the gift of whatever I have been given. But the idea is that I will be given and therefore I will do or I will be in some fundamental way, perhaps altered in a sense. I will be a better person. I will do this. I will do that. So the core element here and the core problem, and this is very subtle spirituality, of course, and I've talked about it a lot, and I think it's complicated for people. But the I that gets from any transaction is built up, it's reinforced, it's made stronger, it's made more foundational. And I know in our day-to-day life, that seems to be the way it works. That's appropriate. I become a better person because you've been better to me. I become this because of you, et cetera, et cetera. My transactions at this point, and I'm discovering this more and more, is that the I who wants is problematic. The I who wants to receive from its actions and even its goodness and its kindness and its love is being reinforced by that transactional idea. The best version of that transaction is not trying to get. If you will, giving and loving and expressing goodness and kindness with no expectation of return at all. Just to serve that flow, just to serve the light, to shine, not to get shined back on, but just to shine, to radiate yourself into the world. And what starts to happen, and I can only talk about this on the subtle realms of the spiritual journey, is that the I that doesn't get back starts to fall away. It starts not to be there as a reactive element. It just stops to be anything other than part of the very thing that is illuminating the outer, the part that gives without getting. You become, if you will, one with the source of light. Now, what you may lose in the process is reinforcement, identity. I'm a good person. I'm a nice person. I'm a spiritual person. I'm a loving person. You may not get that back. And my experience, and I will tell you this is fairly subtle and it's not a constant, but it is enough of an experience to share, is that when it doesn't come back, it frees you. It is liberating, liberating from your identity of you, liberating from your name and your idea of who you are and what you are. It starts to free you. It also starts to take away the sort of fundamental building blocks of who you are, which is like knowing things, knowing your name, knowing where you live, knowing your address, knowing all the stuff of your life. That's all compartmentalized and part of your mind, knowing that you're this person who had this life and who likes that person and doesn't like that person and wants the world to be one way and doesn't want it to be another way. All of that reinforcement, all of that reinforcement in our lives is a reinforcement of the separate self. The problem with a separate self, and I'll use the word problem gently because in most cases, nobody has any idea beyond the idea of a separate self, but it's not permanent. And that's the core of the Buddhist teaching, the impermanence of the separate self. And it's going to go away. And if you live a really profoundly indebted, is maybe the wrong word, committed spiritual life, you will find that the I part of you, the impermanent part of you, can be given away, let go of, surrendered while you're alive. And the return on that, and I don't mean transactional really, but the return on the not you is the amazing experience of being the the what is, discovering the what is. It's not filtered through you as much as it uses you. As much as you become one with it, you become an expression with totality. You become an expression of the very essence of what it means to be. I have not lived long enough to see a lot of people arrive at that. I am watching the journey in myself and documenting it as best I can because it is fant, fant what's the word? Phantasmagoric, fantastic, phenomenal awareness that starts to come, but it has no ownership. There is no you to say, wow, look what I have. I'm going to start charging $1,000 an hour for sharing this. It's not like that. It is so other. It is so not yours and not you and not anything that you can even conceptualize. All I know is it is, and I am, and if you will, I am that. And so are you. If you remain transactional, even in this class, if you think you're going to take away from this class something, I don't know what it would be. Maybe I can become a teacher. I can become a a knower and a person who can sort of let people understand more about life in the world. I mean, that's fine. But if you define yourself as that and you become that, what happens, unfortunately, is you've become more of something that ultimately has to be let go of. And it's one thing to let go of a person who's not so nice and problematic and someone who does bad things and someone who doesn't care about anybody else and egoistic mannerisms and, narcissistic being. That's one thing to let go of that. That's not easy. And if you want to see suffering in the world and know what that is letting go of the attachment to something horrible. you know, if you could only go like that and let it go, it would be great. But there are people out there who it's going to have to be taken away molecule by molecule because they ain't going to let go of any of it. Then there are people who do let go and they kind of on a spiritual journey, let go and let go and let go. But then they sit back and they admire their capacity to let go. Wow, wow. And you actually will get feelings of reinforcement from the universe by doing that. And I will tell you, those feelings are addictive powerful, beautiful. They say good, yes, right, right on, doing it well, all that kind of stuff. The minute you grab hold of that appraisal, you got more of you to let go of. This time it's not narcissistic necessarily, it's not how special you are, but it is that you are somehow other than, separate from that totality. My experience, and all I can share, is we're not separate from that. And the more we walk humbly in the footsteps of our lives, do what Rudy says. If it's in front of you, it's yours. If that's your phone, can you turn it off, please? Um, um, if you are living in a place in yourself that is owning your goodness, owning your kindness, owning your specialness, all I can tell you is that's fine, but it's not the end of the journey. The end of the journey is, in Rudy's terms, surrender. It's chop wood, carry water. It's a simple life. It doesn't build into more of you. The only thing it does do is reveal the more of itself. The more of itself is wondrous beyond description. It is something, if you touch it for 1 second a day, changes the day, changes your life. Touching it for more than a second is what we call liberating. It is the most astoundingly wondrous, beautiful thing there is. It's about walking outside and almost passing out in the beauty of life. It's waking up in the morning and going, and it's not even what I'm talking about as an enjoyable experience that you have. It is a witnessing of the what is, and it is. I think part of the what is simply awed by what it is, and for good reason. If you really walk outside and open your eyes to the what is for 1 second, you will understand why it is so awed by what it is. I mean, this is not a haphazard creation. This isn't by chance, as far as I can tell. It seems to have purpose and directionality and vibrancy and a knowing and an awareness of itself that transcends anything our little brains can comprehend. And it does teach us the experience of trust, the experience of trusting that the next step will land somewhere, and the knowledge that one of those steps is going to lead you into an unending hole of emptiness. And I know the brain and the mind and the body don't like that, but I will tell you there comes a point where you go, okay, one step at a time, knowing that the next step may be the last. Does it matter? This is where trust comes in. This is where surrender and acceptance comes in. You just have to go that whatever this radiant thing is, this radiant non-thing is, what this massive oceanic reality knows what it's doing. It knows what it's doing, and you're part of it, more part of it than you realize. And if you can step back and not have a transactional moment with it, that'll be astounding. It'll be astounding. I spent a wonderful weekend with my family at a lake house this last weekend. And unfortunately, part of the transactional speech comes from recognizing, even if my family and people I love deeply, how transactional life is in those spaces and how hard it is to move beyond and how you have to go beyond the judgment that comes from that. It comes in very simple, close quarters. So you have to learn to love and forgive over and over and over and over. It is an amazing experience to watch life unfolding with people in life being transactional. They're trying to get back, almost everyone. So if you think you're getting free of that is going to be at all meaningful to others, maybe, maybe, I can't imagine it's bad for others, but it is not necessarily liberating. On the other hand, if you're in a dialogue with a spiritual force, it actually does have the possibility of uplifting you and bringing you into a place closer and closer and closer to yourself. That's worth the ride. It's worth the ride. Every one of you who's here, who's shown up here, is called by something that is not my email to you on the Friday afternoon. It's not because you feel obligated or what's Bruce going to think of me. I don't think any of you has that at play. I think what's at play is this deeper need to connect, whether you feel it 24/7 or whether you feel it just on Sunday mornings. That's your purview. You have to know that. I will tell you, it can become 24/7. It can become more than 24/7 because the limitations of time and space disappear. It's something else altogether. You have a doorway to it. You have access. You have the right to it. You were born to find it. You were born to recognize it and to be it. That's why you're here. Please do your work. Do what Rudy talked about. You know, ask for help. Try to find your way to this place. It's worth it. It's worth it for you, but it's worth it for everyone around you because in some way you will be delivering the thing that people want the most, which is care, love, attention, kindness, community, aliveness, and interaction with someone who actually is not looking for something to come back. That's a gift. Give, period. Give. Okay. Um, any questions or concerns or
Bruce,
yeah,
can I just say one thing? I,
of
you know,
course.
this is just absolutely stunning what you just said, and it hits me right in my heart, and it's really beautiful. And but I missed you last week, and I felt it. I felt it in myself. I felt the loss of my usual, and I do this all the time. Don't get me wrong. I meditate every day, but it was something that I recognized, and I wondered if you have anything to say about it.
I missed you too. It was very hard. Last Sunday morning had an element of absence, but it also had the presence of my grandchildren, which like I say, it's a complicated story. People are people, and your grandchildren, you may adore them, but they're also human beings going through exactly what we are all going through and trying to figure it out and process it. And I am learning from them. I had this may not answer your question, but it opens the door to a whole new subject. But I'm going to just throw it out because it explains what the weekend was when I wasn't teaching. I was with my grandson, particularly, who was doing something I had never known you could do, which was he was writing songs using AI. And what he would do is talk to AI, give it words, and the quality of or the melodic idea for a song, and he would wait 36 seconds and a song would appear. And the first song that appeared was with the word pickle. And I thought, oh my God. He said, I want it to be sweet and melodic, pickle. And then within 36 seconds, I started to hear what a joy it was to be a cucumber on the way to being a pickle. What it means to go through all the transformations to become tasty and delicious for someone else. This was the song AI was creating while I was not teaching class here. And I went, okay, this is really, this is really interesting. Then he wrote another song. And then my son Josh and I started writing songs in the car on the way home from this trip. One of them was about what it's like to write a song for a musical in musical theater. And we, 36 seconds into the programming, it says, what an amazing joy to sit in the theater and hear the orchestra playing your music, to witnessing your song and having a whole audience share with you the oneness of this moment. This was AI in 36 seconds. And I realized If I wanted to write a musical for Broadway today, if I had approximately 20 minutes, I could feed it the number of songs, 15 or 20, in a line. I could tell them the style of the songs that I would like and the music, the instrumentation, if I could figure out instrumentation. And then it would present me with all of those songs, and I could write a book for that and probably have a Broadway show. Okay, what does that mean to me? What have I done? I sat for however long, waited these 36 seconds for one song after another to materialize, and I became an appreciator and not a creator at all. I had suggested creation, but I had not affected creation. And what does this mean for the world we're moving into? Because some of these songs are better than a lot of people I know how to write. So here we are with the another universe opening up in front of us, which is perhaps a whole other major talk. But I'm telling you, we are entering a new phase of the world. I may talk about that at the retreat next week because I'm feeling maybe that's part of what the retreat's about. But big changes ahead. And that was a moment. I was not teaching class Sunday morning, I was being taught. That's what happened. And I am sharing a little bit of what I was taught right now. There's more to it than that because I think it impacts all of our lives going forward and possibly at a much faster pace than any of us imagines. I had no idea AI could write lovely songs. I had no idea. So where the world is headed, I don't know, but I will tell you it's in a context of this extraordinary knowing and being that we are, that each of us are already now. Connect to that because it has a kind of infinite aspect that day-to-day life does only hints at. So I missed you on Sunday, but I learned a lot of lessons while I was gone. Anybody else?
Bruce,
Yes.
I have a sort of a flip side of the transactional thing. I have this sense that life has given me so much. I have this urge, drive to give back to life, and and in some respects, I feel like that can be as detrimental as expecting stuff back for what I give.
Well, if if that is your reason for giving, Paul, yes, then yes, that's problematic. That's what I'm talking about. Spiritual transactionism, or whatever the word is, it is giving to get, being a good person so people will love you or respect you or whatever. I'm telling you, it's a refined and rarefied state, but you have to learn, we do have to learn to do it without getting, not getting, and not caring about getting. And that's hard, but
Yeah.
we that's part of the arrangement if you really want to liberate yourself.
Well, the sense I have is when I'm receiving, a vacuum is created, and I want to fill that vacuum back up, and it has something to do with serving, but I think there's a fine line between in that.
Uh, yes, there is a fine line, and it's going to be erased. And it's the erasure of that line that is finally going to let you be free of this whole thing. You're not doing for a reason other than the fact that you are here to serve that doing. And the you that's here to serve it is temporary on one level and infinite on another. You will probably begin to discover, maybe while you're walking through life, maybe on the moment you're leaving life, but you will discover that you've always been the infinite and not the finite. And the finite is here to serve the infinite, and the waking up, the realization, the transcendence, the enlightenment, if you will, is to know that you are the light and not to take any ownership of that realization. Tricky, but doable. You know, I meet a lot of very good people for whom their goodness is transactional. Just don't just be good and loving because you're being asked to do that. and by a source that you may or may not know, but you already are, and it will reveal itself because it's never been absent. Anybody else?
Bruce, I
Yes.
have something to say. I really liked what you were saying about Big Indian being like a milestone in like a energy shift or paradigm shift or whatever. I think that resonated with me.
I'm
Um,
not sure it is that, but I am wondering why am I going to Big Indian, and what is the purpose of 2 days of classes and I mean 4 talks and all of that. My body and my mind have great resistance to all that.
mhm.
My soul knows this is what is, and it's my chop wood, carry water. And I feel it dawning. I feel it coming. And I feel it's going to be an important moment to talk about the shift in the zeitgeist of our existence, because I think that's what's coming. But I'm just sort of giving you a preview, is what I'm saying.
Well, I've been kind of looking into some of the AI stuff, and there's a have you seen the video thing? There's a it's called VO3. I'll send you a link, but it makes full Hollywood level videos now already, and
I have not seen it. I mean, I think I've seen tiny, tiny touches of it on like YouTube, but all I can tell you is whatever that is powerful, is really powerful. It is the beginning of another way of being human that has forces and intelligences and creative powers that may be bigger than ours. Wow. What do you do with that? That's what we're facing. And that I can only tell you, and again, you don't have to come next week, anybody, because this is probably what I'm going to talk about. But and I don't know that for a fact because it's hard. I'm not usually able to program it, but I can only tell you that, and I guess it's all I've ever been talking about. The thing that we are brings AI into being. The thing that we are brings life into being. The thing that we are transcends it. The thing that we are is infinite and eternal. Life on earth is a very little speck of existence and amazing at that. But we're just watching it from close up and going, wow, wow. We'll see where it goes.
Hey, Bruce, this is Mark.
Okay. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how are you? The one line I caught in your talk, which was very powerful, was when you said step outside for a sec, have that second where it opens you up so you see the totality. And we talk about these new technologies, especially this newest technology, and how actually at some level it's a distraction, no matter how great it is from that second. Because no matter how great the technology is, it can never match that 1 second, what you're talking about. So I was just wondering what you thought about the distractions that we continue to create for ourselves to move us away from that 1 second of the totality that technology could never touch.
I'm not sure I can really answer that other than to say we appear to be programmed to be distracted and to be wowed by the distraction. And I actually think the universe is awed by what it is we create and get distracted by. It's doing it. I think it watches us do it and goes, boy, wow. That's really what I think. The universe is amazed by us and amazed by itself because it made us to be amazed. So I'm not thinking it's wrong to be astounded by AI. I'm just saying, if you really want to see creation at work, step out the door. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know, everybody has a different door. I'm stepping out my apartment door into a long hallway. I don't think that will necessarily do it. I get to step out my door and I get to go, wow, and it's kind of amazing. But you get the door you've built, you've created for yourself. And if you want a different door, you find it. There's a lot of doors. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Again, next week's a little confusing. We'll see how it all plays out. If there's AI reception, AI, is that the word? If there is reception for the Zoom meeting, it will be on Zoom and people who want to come can come. And if there's not, my apologies. Things will hopefully be online afterwards, so you can hear whatever the talks are. And I will be back the following week. Forget where I'm supposed to be, but I think I'm going to try to move toward this two coast teaching. I think we can do that, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, but we'll talk about that maybe next week. Thank you for being here. Lots of love to everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Those of you who are traveling here, thank you for the unbelievable effort that involves. I bow down to that. Thank you.